going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 58. And today we're going to do 50 through 26 again, but we're going to do it with Jason Ashby from Denver, Colorado this time. Jason, when you heard that Mike and I did 50 to 26 without you, how upset were you?
If there was a dugout wall, I probably would have punched it. No, I was, it was great. I love the show. You guys did a great job. I have my list, and I want to share it with the world.
Well, let's get this started then, man. I've got my list here in front of me. You guys already know it, so I'm just going to reference it for where we are on the list. Jason, let's kick this thing off, man. Where are you at with number 50?
Number 50, I'm going with a guy who I traded for in the middle of last season, and he was awful, but he's got to be better than he was last year. We've seen it. It's Jose Berrios of the Blue Jays. I have him down at number 50. He was awful last year. His expected ERA was not good. There's nothing really to like about what he did last year, but I still think he's got potential to be a decent starter. So I have him just here in the top 50 here.
You went 12-7 last year. Like, that's something. You know, he's in baseball games. The team's going to be good.
He pitches for the Blue Jays, so he's going to get wins.
A 1.42 whip is hideous. The walk percentage is bad. Like, he's gonna be somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4.7 ERA. You'll get double-digit wins. You probably don't have to spend anywhere near the top 50 pitcher in order to get him. That's certainly like you could get this dude in the 20th round as your number 5 and be fine with it. I'm sure.
Yeah. And by the way, I kind of ranked I went through these players the same way I did the other positions. I looked at the last two full seasons, so 2021 and 2022.
Well, what is his ERA split over the last 2 years then?
Yeah, so his ERA last year was 5.23. The year before was 3.52. So you average that out, it's 4.38 over the last two seasons.
That's not great. Like, a 4.38 is not good.
It's not. And his strikeout percentage isn't great. His K per 9 isn't great. But he pitches. He's durable. He hasn't been hurt, so he pitches, and he pitches for a winning ball club. So and he's only 29. So there's still things to like about him. We've seen he can pitch well. So I just have a little bit of faith in him.
The thing is, I feel like he and Jamison Tyone and Jose Urquidy and Corey Kluber and Frankie Montas before the injury, all of those dudes kind of fit the same mold, right?
Yeah.
So this is the highest upside play of that next group of 3s and 4s will give you 150 plus. This is the high upside play. I can respect that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't have him ranked, and I have 60 so far. He's in the next group, but he's behind dudes like Joe Ryan and Alex Cobb and Jack Flaherty. I would take all of those dudes before that, and I don't have them in the top 60.
Yeah. No, look, I actually went 75 deep, and I cut it at 50. But the guys in my 51 through 75 are also guys that are I can draft these guys.
That's the amazing thing is that pitcher is so deep this year.
It's so deep. Yeah.
All right. Who's 49 for you, my friend?
49 is a guy, I don't think you guys talked about him either. I'm going Adam Wainwright here.
Yeah, he was another guy I was about to name in that group of what was I talking about? Jamison Tyone, Jose Urquidy. I almost said Adam Wainwright as that next name too, and I was but he's a little bit different. Tell me why you like him at 49.
Yeah, obviously he's 41, so he's at the twilight of his career, and he definitely took a step back in 2022 from 2021, so that's alarming. But I like the Cardinals this year. He hasn't shown that he's completely inept at pitching in his 40s, so he's been good. His average ERA over the last two seasons is 3.38. He's pitched almost 200 innings, average out the last 2 years. So he's not going to hurt you.
I believe the word we're looking for here is safe. He's the safest thing you're going to find this deep in the draft. Again, I don't have him in the top 60. I like guys more than him, but I'm looking at it now. It's like him or Tyler Anderson. I actually might want him. And then we're talking dudes like Andrew Heaney and Drew Rasmussen. So like, I'll just throw him up on the end of my list here now at 61, and we'll go from there, right? You talked me into like at least ranking the dude.
Yes, I'll take it.
All right, now we're gonna start seeing if you can move guys up or down. Who's at 48?
48. I have Marcus Stroman. I know you talked about him.
Okay, I'm at 43. That's not bad. It's 5 off.
Not far.
Yeah.
One thing I do like strikeouts from my pitchers, and none of these 3 pitchers that we talked about are really high strikeout dudes, and Stroman's probably the worst of them. But he's good. He's good at preventing runs. He's durable. He's going to pitch. I don't know what the Cubs are this year. I don't know what's going on in Chicago, but you know what you're going to get from Stroman. So he's another safe guy who, isn't going to blow anything away, but he's not going to hurt you in anything. Mm-hmm. He's safe.
Yeah. It's another great word for him, right alongside Wainwright. The one thing I will answer your question. You don't know what the Cubs are going to be or what you're going to get from the Cubs. You know what you're going to get from them. They're going to try really hard this year. Yeah, that is one thing that every single dude on the Cubs is going to do. They have a reason to play really hard all season, right? Cody Bellinger on a 1-year deal to prove it. Stroman signed this deal. Tyone coming in his first year. Hendricks on a walk year. Happ on a walk year. Seiya Suzuki his first full season potentially. Eric Hosmer resurrecting his career. Like, pick a dude. There's a reason that every single dude on this team is going to try their damnedest to get to the playoffs. Stroman is going to lead the front, right?
Right. I mean, what if they're like, the Guardians or the Orioles of last year, where like they kind of like surprise everybody and sneak their way into the wild card?
They don't have to make the playoffs for this pick to be worth it for their season to be successful. Just win 82 games, and all of a sudden, like you're legit. Right. Who's at 47 for you, man?
Your boy Pablo.
All right, I have him at 49. I spoke quite a bit about him. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I pretty much echoed everything you said. Like I don't know what to make of him, especially now in Minnesota. Like he's just going to be a guy in Minnesota, but like he's been good. His strikeout rate over the last 2 years is 25.6. Like, so like not bad, not terrible, not great. He's good. I think this is a good spot for him. He's not terrible, but he's not going to shoot up the rankings anytime soon.
Yeah, he's fine. I just don't know if we're ever going to see that next step. And if this is all we're ever going to get from this guy, then I feel like there are guys that I can get that could be better than this.
Yeah.
Later than
him, I mean, so, like to me, like Brady Singer is a guy who I didn't rank, but like I could see him taking over Pablo's spot next year.
I have Singer inside my top 60. Right? Yeah. He's just inside the top 60, but he is there. And yeah, you're right. Like, and there's a few more names in that 51 to 61 range now that could totally jump past Pablo. I worry about the ballpark. I worry about the fact that he put in a whole season worth of innings and the final 4 months were awful.
Yeah. Yeah, he pitched 180 innings last year, but he still pitched a 375, which isn't terrible. Again, it's not terrible.
375 is great, but when I tell you that his ERA was south of 2 after May, all of a sudden now you're going, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
it was a bad fall off. I wish him nothing but the best, but like I don't know that he's going to succeed in Minnesota, and I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So who is at 40? Where are we at? 46 for you?
46. 46 is a guy who you definitely did not talk about last week. Eduardo Rodriguez.
We're doing this again, Jason? We're doing this again?
Yes. Because you know what?
No, don't do this to yourself.
His strikeout rate over the last 2 seasons, granted last year was only half a year, but 27.4. Really high, really good strikeout percentage. And you know what? He missed a lot of last year. He wasn't hurt. He was dealing with a personal matter that we don't really know what it was. So he wasn't hurt.
All I've heard was that it was a divorce, and that's it. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not scared of him. Like he's been steady in the past. He's been solid. 2021, I mean, it was a 4.74 ERA. It wasn't great, but if he can improve on that a little bit, I don't know. I'd like to see what he looks like in spring training, but I'm willing to take a shot on him.
Okay. I mean, somebody's going to be good in Detroit someday, right? They can't be horrible forever.
His expected ERA over the last 2 seasons is 3.47. So,
yeah, that plays if he plays to his expected stats. And the problem, obviously, the problem with living with expected stats is that people don't do what they're expected to do. Like Eduardo Rodriguez, when he went to Detroit, you kind of thought okay, yeah, he's going to take that next step. He's going to become a number one coming out of Boston, and and the ballpark plays to him really well. Well, all of a sudden, Detroit's going, yeah, we kind of like our hitters, and we're going to move the fences in and down and make them shorter and make the dimensions smaller. And Eduardo Rodriguez hasn't pitched a full season in a while, and even when he did, he was bad. Sorry, man. If he's going to be I'll take him in the 22nd round and beyond as a depth piece. But if he's going to be good, he's going to be good on somebody else's team more than likely.
Yeah, I feel you.
All right. 45. Who you got?
45. I got Chris Bassett here. Again, the low strikeouts, but again, he's another safe guy. You know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get innings, low earned run, low strikeouts. The walks are a little high, but not terrible.
So this means you have 4 Toronto Blue Jays in your top 50. You have to. Because if you don't have Gosman and Manoah in your top 50, you're insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the 4
top 50, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So 4 of the Toronto Blue Jays in your top 50. Do you think Toronto is winning the AL East?
It's tough. I don't see why they couldn't. Okay. I really don't. I don't see why they couldn't. I don't know if I'm ready to.
They made a lot of changes offensively this past year, man. A lot of changes.
Yeah. I think I still like them better than the Yankees, though. So if I had to go into my head, I would say, yeah, I think they could.
So that begs the next question then. How many Yankees do you have in your top 50?
3.
Yeah, I figured it would be 3 because the 4th one's hard to get in there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have 4 in my top 50. I got the 4th guy in, and he's right where we're about to talk about at 44.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I do have 4. I do have the 4th. Yeah.
Okay, so who's number 44?
I have him a little bit higher than you do. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's number 44 for you?
44, Lucas Giolito. I have him down here.
47.
I forget 47. Okay, yeah. Watching yours, we were mostly somewhat in lockstep. There was definitely some variances, but he scared me last year. Last year just completely turned me off on him. If there's some sort of rebound, then sure, but he has the talent. I mean, he's only 28, so he could be fine, but I don't like the White Sox this year, so
I just wonder if the breakout in 2019 that we saw, right, during the juiced ball era, how much better would that have been with a regular baseball? Number 1. Yeah. Number 2, he really hasn't been the same since we got rid of Spider Tack, has he?
Not really.
That's concerning.
The last 2 seasons, so 2022 and 2021, he averaged out to a 4.22 ERA with 26.7 strikeout percentage and an 8% walk percentage. He hasn't.
8% walk is good, but I'm assuming he had 160 or better innings.
Yeah.
Each of those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going for here, is that you're going to get at least 160 innings, and that the upside is a Cy Young winner, but the floor is this. A 500 record with a 4.90 ERA and a strikeout, better than a strikeout an inning. That's the other thing.
Yeah, he can strike guys out. He's like the opposite of Chris Bassett, right? He gets the strikeouts, but he can't keep runs off the board.
Yeah, I think pairing 2 of those guys together, a Wainwright and this guy, or one of the low ERA, low strikeout guys with this guy, makes a lot of sense going forward. Because I don't think the 4.90 is real. I just don't think it's as low as we had seen before. Like, I think his ERA at the end of the season will start with a 4. It's just, how bad is it?
Right. 405 maybe or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who do you have at 43?
So 43 starts my guys, my grouping here of guys who need to prove it. I start with Drew Rasmussen.
Another guy we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. Look, he's only 27, but he pitched 146 innings last year. So, like, I feel like if the Rays are going to start using their starters, he's a guy that could benefit from that. 2.84 ERA over the last 2 seasons. So he's been good. He just hasn't pitched a whole lot. And the year before, he only pitched 76 innings. So, like, he hasn't pitched. So this is why he starts off my, let's see if you can do it over a full season, kind of block here. Because I think
he's take a step forward kind of guy.
Exactly. Yeah. At 27, he could. He very well could if he's allotted the innings that he needs to do that with.
I mean, he did start out as a reliever in Milwaukee, and like he was part of the Willy Adames trade, if I remember right. So I have him at 57 for what it's worth. I have him higher than Adam Wainwright right now, and for much of the same reason that you just said. But last show we talked about Jeffrey Springs, and I think we're coming to where you might have him ranked, right?
He is the next guy.
So 42. That makes a ton of sense that like you can bail on one of these guys and everybody moves up at some point between now and the draft. That being said, like combined, these dudes had 15 quality starts last year and they threw almost 300 innings combined. That's not great. That's usually just 4 1/3, or 5 and get out.
That's Tampa. That's the way Tampa operates, right? They don't get quality starts.
Yeah. Now I don't dislike the idea if you're working at the wheel somewhere in the teens rounds and you go Springs Rasmussen on a thing and you just hang on to those guys, and then later on in the draft you figure out what their bullpen situation is and you grab a dude out of there. Like it's a strategy. These guys, like I said about Jeffrey Springs, there's a strategy that has to exist for these guys to work.
Yeah.
But it's something you need to start identifying very early in the draft and cater yourself to it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll tell you what, I have 4 Rays pitchers ranked here.
Makes sense.
But there's only one that I would really be safe. I would feel confident in drafting.
I don't like you saying that, sir.
I know you don't. I know you don't. But I don't believe in the way the Rays use their starting pitching. It doesn't work for fantasy baseball.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Unless you load up on the bullpen. And like I said in the last show, like I did that one year, took all 3 of the top relievers, and Oliver Drake got the first 2 saves. So you're never going to outsmart the Rays. So if you want to venture into that world, go ahead. But you're going to end up like the girl in Labyrinth. Who do you have at 41, man?
41. Another guy you guys did not talk about. I have Kodai Senga.
Okay, he's unranked for me because I know little to nothing about him.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no way to really parallel Japanese pitching to American pitching and how he's going to do. I don't, he was great in Japan. Like his ERA last year was 189. Like with
what does that mean?
What? Like I don't know.
Right.
But what I do know is even if he doesn't come close to that, even if he's a 3.5.
What if it's 389? Right? What if it's 389?
That's still better than Giolito.
By a full run.
What? Yeah.
By a full run.
Yeah. So I mean, and he's pitching on the Mets, so he's on the winning team. I think he's a good dart throw. Like again, he's a prove it guy because we don't know what he's going to translate to.
Right. How old is
he? This will be his age 30 season.
Yeah, he kind of fits. Like he kind of fits the mold. While you were introducing and talking about him, I put him at 62, right behind Wainwright, as like I need to consider this guy. So
yeah,
I will dig a bit deeper into this guy. So you've now given me 2 on the back end of my full list there, Jason. Congratulations.
We're only partway through.
we're not even halfway there. Who do you have at 40?
40. you're gonna hate me for being so low on this guy. I have Tristan McKenzie here.
Wow, we had him at 29 respectively.
Yeah, he's. I have one more guy ahead of him in my like prove it block, because like he wasn't good in 2021. So like he was fantastic last year. Although his expected ERA was way higher than his actual ERA was. So like his FIP was high, his WHIP was low, his innings, he pitched, his strikeouts were good. I just want to see it over a full season. I want to see it again over a full season before I'm ready to put him in my top 30 or top 20.
The walks per 9 were particularly nice at only 2.7. Homers per 9, way down. Loved that.
Yes.
His FIP and xFIP were about a half a run to 3/4 of a run worse. And he was benefited by the low BABIP. But what I'll say about Cleveland pitchers specifically having that low BABIP, the Cleveland Guardians have put together a really great defensive team, so you're gonna see that number. You're gonna see the balls in play being scooped up by these Gold Glove dudes around the infield and these great athletes in the outfield. So I don't necessarily discredit Tristan McKenzie for the low BABIP and point to the FIP and xFIP numbers. And this is another one of those situations where we talked earlier about expected stats, and sometimes people outperform their expected stats or underperform their expected stats. To me, this is just one of those kids who's gonna do this. He is just a freak of nature, and his ground ball rate is a lot lower than I thought it would have been. His homer rate is good. The strikeout numbers, all the underlying numbers make sense for this. Like it just points to this being about what we can expect. I'm not going to say that 296 is real, but if it's 320, I'm fine.
Yeah. Look, I definitely can see him moving up the rankings. There's just guys up here that I personally think I trust a little bit more right now, going into 2023.
So I'm going to guess then that in the next 5 picks or so, we're going to see names like Logan Gilbert, Tony Gonsolin, Christian Javier, and Zach Gallen, maybe?
Yeah, some of those guys.
Who do we got at 39?
39, George Kirby.
Hey, there's another one of those guys that sort of fits this bill.
He is the top of this tier. He is the top of this, prove it over another full season. But again, my love for the Mariners. I love their pitching. I love their team. So I think he has a chance to really be a quality starter. He showed it last year. He was good. He wasn't great. He wasn't awful. He was a nice young pitcher. He's only 25. Same with McKenzie. I could see him being top 20 next year.
The WHIP was fine. The FIP and xFIP numbers liked him. The only thing I'm concerned about, and just like we talked about with McKenzie, right? So McKenzie had the really low BABIP because his infield was really good in scooping up everything. George Kirby had a 331 BABIP. That worry, that says to me that like his infield wasn't all that good. Now they went out and got Colton Wong. Congratulations. He's still got Eugenio Suarez at third. He's not great. Crawford at short. I don't know if he's good or not. France seems like a very serviceable first baseman. Their outfield seems to be good now with Julio and Teoscar in right, and whatever they put in left, whether it's Kelnick or somebody else. Like, I think that number can come down, which will bring his ERA down a little bit. You could see a breakout out of this kid. I'm definitely on board with this kid. I have him at 46, but he's going to be the 4 in Seattle. Just play him against everybody not named the Astros.
Right. Yeah. Right. I don't see why he couldn't take a big leap forward this year. Absolutely.
38, my friend. Who do you have there?
Here you go. Here's your Tyler Glasnow.
All right. This isn't offensive. I have him at 27. I understand why you have him here. Go ahead.
He's pitched 72 innings average over the last 2 seasons, and not even last 2 seasons, between 2020 and 2021. So I need to see it. I know everybody's raving about him. He was good in his 6 innings or whatever it was that he pitched end of last year. I want to see it maybe coming out of spring training. Even I can move him up, but it's been a long time since we've seen him throw anything meaningful.
Right. And that's the biggest fear, obviously. He could be an absolute nothing, or he could be a league winner. And for this type of guy, every single sign is pointing towards the Rays are going to put him on the mound and not take him off that mound until his arm falls off, or they make it to the playoffs and then trade him next offseason, or maybe even trade him at this deadline. Who knows? Fact of the matter is, the man's making $25 million next year, and the Rays are not going to pay that. They need to improve his value. And the only way to do that is put him on the mound. So if you believe that his talent can be real, I'm telling you, other than injury, he's going to be on that mound.
Yeah, and if that's the case, then great. But I am going.
You'll take him at 38, and that'll be just fine. Like, I have Martin Perez at 38, so that's where we differ on like safety versus upside, right? Because this is where you're talking about now is where my tier of guys that will throw me 160 to 180 innings like you just had, and my tier above that are guys like Glasnow that, like, there's a lot of question marks, but I could take him first and have him in case he breaks out and get a guy like Martin Perez afterwards.
Glasnow for me starts, it's only three. It's a tier of three guys coming off of injury concerns that are question marks to me. It starts with Glasnow, and then it goes to Luis Severino.
So Severino is there. You're actually higher on Severino than I am, which is surprising. I have him at 44. Why do you like him?
When he's been pitching, he's been good. I like his numbers have been good. He was look. I'm looking at 2022 and 2018. Because 2018 was the last time that we saw him.
It's a long time ago, man.
It was a long time ago. I agree. So that's why I'm not super high on him, but I'm not out on him. I think he pitched 102 innings last year, which I think is at least enough to be a sample.
It's more than Glasnow has in the last 2 years.
Exactly. And he was good. It was a 3.18 ERA with a 2.94 expected ERA. So he wasn't bad. He was good.
The
Yankees are the Yankees.
The BABIP was low here too at a 237, but the underlying numbers, I mean, his swinging strike rate was nice and high. Not particularly great at suppressing hard contact, not particularly great at getting strikeouts, but like he wasn't awful. It was more than a strikeout in an inning. Walks are fine. He's just listen, you want to tell me he's going to throw 150 innings? Yeah, he's going to be just fine with 3.25 ERA, probably a strikeout an inning to a little bit more. Great. Awesome. Solid number 3 or 4 on board. Who do you have? I don't
see why he couldn't go 150 innings. He went 102, barring anything freak. So,
right.
Above him, 36, Tony Gonsolin.
Okay, I was expecting Chris Sale here, given that he was the third injured guy. But
he didn't make my 50. He's just outside my 50. I think the age is a key part of that. Like Severino's 29, Gonsolin's 29. All three of these guys are 29, and Sale is 34. So like there's an age factor there that keeps me a little bit more hesitant on Sale. These three guys are a little younger, so I think
the team Sale plays for isn't as good as those three guys' team either. So
exactly, yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so you have Gonsolin at 35?
36.
36. You owned this guy. You drafted this guy last year, didn't you?
Yeah, and I dropped him.
I know.
Because he was hurt coming into the year, and
and he did this.
But look, this is why I say that fantasy baseball is at least 50% luck, because you don't know what these guys are going to do. You can look at all these stats. You can have all the intuition you possibly can have. But at the end of the day, you don't know who's going to throw their arm out, who's going to twist a testicle. You don't know.
Yeah. I am inclined to move Gonsolin down now that I'm looking at his numbers more in depth. He had a 207 BABIP. That is ridiculous. That is beyond ridiculous. Like 237 is low. 207? Like 20%, 21% of the balls in play are being hits? No way,
Yeah.
man. That's 1 for 5s every guy, every day.
And you look at, their defense is a lot different than it was last year, right?
Yeah, you don't have Trey Turner up the middle anymore.
Right. So, you got guys like, Gavin Lux and Miguel Vargas and, so.
Who's playing third?
Max Muncy.
Yeah, man. I do not. Max Muncy with the elbow thing?
Uh-huh.
Like a year removed from the elbow thing? Okay. Gonsolin, we're going to move Gonsolin down is what we're going to do.
Yep.
So here's the thing about that next tier I just talked about. He was the bottom of that tier of like guys who need to prove it for me, which means for me that he probably goes underneath an entire tier of guys like Cal Quantrill, Merrill Kelly, Martin Perez, Chris Sale, Chris Bassett, Clayton Kershaw, Miles Michaelis, and Shohei Ohtani. Those are the 8 dudes I have in that tier.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It's a mixed bag, and there's a very loud name in there that I sort of threw in at the end, but like that wasn't in order, by the way.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So then that brings him to Jeffrey Springs and Jordan Montgomery, and that feels like more his contemporaries anyway. So I'm going to move him to 39 and have him sit just above Jeffrey Springs.
Yeah. So I'm going to preface these next 2 guys by saying I had them ranked in the wrong spot. So I'm already moving them down. So
it was 30. We're at 34 for you now?
We were at 30. Gonsolin was 36 for me.
Okay, so 35.
So we're going to 35.
And what do you have at 35 for us?
Well, right now I have Jordan Montgomery.
I mean, I had him at 41.
Yeah.
It's only 6 spots. That's not a big deal.
Yeah. I don't love him
I
here,
like
though.
Montgomery.
I do like him. I think I like some of these other guys better, though.
Okay.
The more I'm looking at it, I think
guys we've already talked about.
Yeah. So I'm probably moving him just above Lucas Giolito.
Okay. So Giolito was in the higher 40s, right? Like 49 or 47 or something.
Giolito was 44, so Montgomery's going to be 43 now.
All right, there you go. So let's talk about Montgomery. I have him at 41. You're at 43 with him now. 178 and a third across 2 teams. The win-loss record is whatever the hell it is. Like, it's going to be better because he only had 15 decisions. Like,
right.
I'm not going to worry about that. 3.5 ERA looks to be about where you can expect him to be. And less than a strikeout an inning. He feels like the next Adam Wainwright, if I'm honest.
Yeah, which makes him safe. Right. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with him. I just feel like some of these other guys have better upside. For me, the Kirbys and the McKenzies and the Springs, the upsides are a little bit better for me. But I think Montgomery is a very safe option. I would not be unhappy having him on my team.
Right. Yeah. He's going to be perfectly fine pitching for St. Louis with that offense. They're going to win 90 games minimum this season, St. Louis will, barring some ridiculous amount of injuries. Like, it's a safe option. So we go back up to number 34 now.
34. Yeah, this guy needs to move down. Although,
how much further are you going to move him down?
So I have Ranger Suarez here.
Okay. We're going to move him outside the top 60 because that's not where I am.
Look, you know what? He was really good in 2021. He was really good.
Yeah, but it was
he took a step back. He took a step back last year, but like he pushed. It still wasn't bad. Like he was a 3.65 with a 3.78 expected ERA. Like it wasn't bad.
Does he strike anybody out? Like I feel like I could get a hit off of him.
His strikeout.
I feel like Miguel Sano, a lineup of Miguel Sano and like Joey Gallo and all those dudes, he would get like 8 strikeouts.
Yeah. But look, in 2021, he struck out 9 per inning. So like, or 9 per 9. So like, again, I'm not saying. I mean, I am moving him down. I'm not moving him off my top 50. In fact, I'm going to move him right below Montgomery here. So he is now 40. So he'll be 43.
You know who I had him alongside? I'll give you the names around where I've got him. Reed Detmers, Keegan Thompson, Kyle Bradish, Eduardo Rodriguez, David Peterson. Like these are the names I have Ranger Suarez around.
Keegan Thompson is not even going to start. He's not even going to be in the rotation.
I know. He's gonna fall out. Like most of this was just cut and copy to the next column, like to the next page, right? But Lance McCullers is down there, and it feels somewhere.
Like I don't know. I mean, he's what, the number 3 in Philly or 4? 4. He's a 4 in Philly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's either him or Walker. Like him and
yeah,
Walker.
But like I think his upside is higher than Taijuan Walker's. I have Walker ranked outside the 50.
That's not saying much. Is it? Like, is saying that his upside is better than Taijuan Walker? Does that say much? He was a 3.5 ERA last year. He's Marcus Stroman on an ERA, which is great, but like he also does not strike anybody out.
No, so that's why I moved him down to these guys who don't. Aside from Giolito, these guys who don't strike anybody out. Because I do like the strikeouts. I'll give you that. I do like the strikeouts, but I think Suarez can improve. He's only 27. He's going right into his prime. He's on a winning ball club. There's something here. I think there's something here.
I just found out I have Dustin May down this far as well, and I'm like, I should probably at least throw him up into that group of like, hey, pay attention to that guy real quick. You know?
I wanted to get him into the 50, but I couldn't because he hasn't pitched in forever.
Yeah, but I could certainly have him at 63, for example.
Yeah.
Just sit him there. Anyway, where are we at for you? 33?
No, 33 now.
You're double triple. Who do you got there?
I have Luis Garcia from Houston.
From Houston. All right. He's 52 for me, just outside. Like, it's him and Charlie Morton and Lance Lynn as my first 3 dudes out. He was good, not great. And I don't think Houston has much faith in him going forward based on what they did with him in the playoffs.
True. I probably do need to move him down too, come to think of it.
And here's the other thing I'm worried about with him, like specifically him, and I've just been waiting for somebody to bring him up because I wanted to make this case. The pitch clock's a thing, man. He takes forever between pitches, bro. You think I'm kidding? This is slow, dude.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
The baby cannot be a thing anymore.
I mean, we'll see what he does. I mean, look, spring training is going to be a good sign.
Yes.
You know,
yes, I want to see it. I have to see it. Like, I have to see it. And listen, he could be good. He could take a step forward. But you said you're going to move him down.
I am. He's only 26, but he is part of. I think he does need to be part of this. The thing is, he's pitched full seasons. Like, he has 150 innings each of the last 2 years, so he's pitched. I am going to move him right in between Montgomery and Suarez here.
Yeah, that feels a lot better. I mean, Montgomery, I have 41, Garcia at 52, but there's a slew of guys. You don't have Blake Snell yet?
We haven't gotten to him yet.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad to hear that one. All right. So that would be 32 now.
32 is Robbie Ray.
Yeah, I really like Robbie Ray. He's like good now. He figured it out. Like, He did. Look, the walks are still an issue, but that's what you're going to get with him. But the strikeouts are real good, and he pitches for the Mariners. I like the Mariners. I don't love him, but I think right here in the 30s is a good spot for him. Yeah, I have him at 28. Like, we're not that far off on him. I give a lot more credit to the ability to stay healthy and throw me 185 every year and 200 strikeouts every year. Like, I feel like he deserves a lot more credit than he's being given for that. ERA indicators aren't great for him, but they're never going to be. He gives up a lot of homers. That's my concern. But he's in the right ballpark now for this. Like, he's in the right ballpark to be playing this way. They don't call it Safeco anymore. It's T-Mobile. T-Mobile Stadium is safe for homers. And you say he has a walk problem, but like his walks per 9 were better than Dylan Cease and better than Blake Snell that we'll talk about, I assume, and
Yeah.
it's comparable to like Luis Severino and Kyle Wright and other dudes like that. So like he's figured something out. He's figured
He's
out
figured
how
it
to
out.
throw a
It
baseball
has
over
gotten
the
better. You're absolutely right. It has gotten better. Yeah, he's
not
look,
the Cy. He's not the Cy season that we saw.
he's not 2021.
This is
No.
Cy.
Yeah.
3.5 to a 3.75 ERA with 200 strikeouts. I'll take all day as a 2 or a 3. All day.
Yeah. Absolutely. All
right.
And you know he's going to post every day or every fifth day. So
he's going to be there every fifth day. The team's going to be in position to win. The offense is pretty good to support him, and the bullpen is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Nothing
What more
not
can
to
you
like.
ask for?
Yeah. All right, 31.
His teammate, Logan Gilbert.
I have him at 30. So everything we just said plus like 5 years younger, or maybe even more.
Exactly it.
Yeah.
So we can move right ahead to 30.
Okay.
And that is going to be Blake Snell.
Okay, you're high on Blake Snell this year.
I am.
Why?
Yeah. Look, he had a rough 2021. There's no doubt about it. And last year wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. He still struck out 12 per 9. And even the year before, he struck out almost 12 per 9. So, like, he's still got stuff. And he's still pitching on that San Diego team that's going to win a whole ton of ball games. He's only 30. Can he pitch more than 128?
That blows my mind, is that he's only 30. I feel like we've been watching him forever.
Yeah. He's only 30.
I feel like he won me a Cy a lifetime ago.
I would like to see him pitch more than 130 innings. That would be nice to see.
When was the last time we saw that? You've got his numbers right there, right?
Yeah, it was 2019. At the very least, let's see, 2019. No,
right, that was the
2018. 2018. He pitched 180. It was a Cy Young
season.
Yeah, he hasn't pitched 150 innings since then. He hasn't pitched 130 innings since then. But
oh man.
But when he's on the mound, though, he's been quality. Like, especially last year. Like, he wasn't bad last year. He was 2019 he was 2020. 2020 was a real season. Like, that's what he was last year, which was okay. Like,
here's I'm seeing what you're seeing now, and what I'm seeing is a yo-yo. Yeah. I'm seeing a yo-yo. I'm seeing 2017 with a 4 ERA. 2018 was the side. 2019 was bad. 2020 was what it was. 2021 was bad. And if we're going to say that 2022 was good, but I'm not going to go, yeah, it was good, but he wasn't healthy. So therefore, I'm buying in for 23. I have him at 42. I think I'm about to drop him. And I think he's going to drop kind of hard right now because I just can't get behind the idea. Like, so if you have him at 30, then you probably have 3 Padres in your top 30? Like, you should have Musgrove and Darvish at some point.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, like that's the 3.
Yeah.
I like those guys. I just don't like him. For health reasons, yeah.
Look, like we said, this starting pitching so far this year is so deep that you can go with who you don't like, whether the number, even just disregarding the number.
Stay away from them. Like, you don't have to be pegged into a corner that says I have to take either Blake Snell or Luis Garcia. Like, you're not going to be stuck in that position.
Exactly. So there are so many arms and so much talent that you can go how you want to go with this for the most part.
I think 57 is where Snell just fell to, underneath Jesus Luzardo and just in front of Drew Rasmussen.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Too bad. All right. 29.
Is his teammate, Yu Darvish.
All right. So there's Darvish. Darvish is actually inside of my top 25, so I just want to put that off until the next show.
Fair.
28. Who do you got?
Luis Castillo.
It's another guy who's going to be inside of my top 25 and is inside of the consensus top 25 for the show next. So we're going to push that one off until next time. 27.
Zach Gallen.
Inside the top 25. 26.
Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, here's a guy that we talked about last time by.
Yeah.
How on earth? Okay, so the group of dudes we just said we're pushing off until next time. Luis Castillo, Zach Gallen, Yu Darvish, and who was the fourth one?
It was Gallen, Castillo, and Darvish.
Okay, so all three of those guys you have directly behind Clayton Kershaw.
Because he's still Clayton Kershaw. Like he
was
so good last year.
He's so good. That's fine. So okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. He's great. You're going to get 20 starts out of him, right?
Sure.
How many starts has he had each of the last 2 years? It's 21 starts. I know because I looked it up. 21 starts. How many weeks are in the bigs? If you go to the championship. Jason, this is math, bro. This is simple math. Like, if you only have him for 21 starts, and one of them is in Colorado that you're probably not starting him for, then you have him for 20 starts. How many of those 20 starts are going to be good? If the number's 15, fine. But I'm going to get Darvish, Gallen, and Castillo for 28 to 30 starts, barring injury. I don't think Kershaw is going to give me 150 innings ever again, man. And that has to be a knock on him at this point, because if you draft him, you must roster him all year, and you have to live through the 6 weeks of IL you're going to live with.
I dropped him a little bit. I dropped him underneath Blake Snell. So Kershaw is now number 30.
Okay. All right. I will live with anybody who has him outside the top 30 because I have him at 34. That's not far, but like.
Yeah, because I still his
126 innings last year to me are on par with Merrill Kelly's 200 innings.
Okay,
they're the same thing. Neither one of them are like going to blow you away, but you have Merrill Kelly for 34 starts.
Maybe, but you don't know. I mean, like that's the thing. It's like
okay. Here's a guy you do like that I have around the same area that you have not ranked in your top 50 because we didn't talk about him. Cal Quantrill.
I have him outside the top 50.
But you're going to get 33 starts of Cal Quantrill or 20 starts of Clayton Kershaw.
Cal Quantrill struck out 6 per 9 last year.
Right. And Clayton Kershaw didn't play for 7 weeks.
But when he did,
you're going to get that 6K per 9 every start. All year. Or you could like have Clayton Kershaw sit on your IL for 6 weeks. And whatever you replace Clayton Kershaw with is obviously probably going to be like not as good as him, right?
Unless it's whoever the Dodgers replace him with.
I mean, if you're able to go grab that kid, but more than likely isn't that kid going to be on somebody's NA slot? I mean, Michael Grove and the other kid, I can't think of the other one off the top of my head. Gavin Stone.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's my point with Kershaw is that, and is he's not talented anymore. It's that you can't draft him for this league because you need to have all your arms.
Yeah.
And if he busts 175 innings, like go ahead, man, have him. But like, if I'm burning a 9th round pick, I'm burning a 9th round pick on my SP3 that's going to be there for most of the season.
Fair point.
All right, so who do you have outside the 50 that you do want to highlight that we have not talked about at all?
So I mentioned Brady Singer. I don't think either one of you had him ranked in your 50.
I have him at 60 now with all of the changes that have happened. I have him at 60. Nice season. Won me the 2020 championship. Hi, Frank. But Royals suck.
Yeah, that's what scared me. I mean, he's 26. He's only 26. I feel like he's been around forever. He's only 26. No innings cap. Like, so I could see him having another good year. But yeah, the Royals are no good.
Yeah, no. What do you think of Tyler Anderson on the Angels now? That face, right? Like it's that face, but he went 15-5 with a 2.5 ERA.
Where did that come from, though? He's 33. Like, I don't know. I show it to me again, and maybe he'll get into the top 50 again. But
Him or Brady Singer?
The upside, Brady Singer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Noah Syndergaard on the Dodgers.
Oh, you're gonna go to this well one more time.
Yeah.
He outperformed what I thought.
See? I mean, he had a sub-4 ERA.
He did. It was 3.94. He just made it. He just made it.
It all counts. But, hopefully now he's another year past the injury. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can throw 150 innings, and maybe he can, on the Dodgers. Like, there's always a chance that he.
Where do you have him ranked?
I didn't sort.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
51 through 75. They're just clustered together as that group. Yeah.
So him or, I mean, obviously you have Pablo in the top 50. I just feel like this is a cheaper Pablo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he doesn't have the strikeout numbers anymore, man. He struck out 95 at 135 innings.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
6.5 per 9 last year. It was not.
Yeah, that's concerning.
That's not Syndergaard. Yeah.
No. I'll take Tyler Anderson over him. I'll take Brady Singer over him. Are we taking Joe Ryan over him?
He would be a prove it guy to me. Like,
okay.
Yeah, because we've only seen him 1 year, and it was okay. It was good.
I think I am going to. I think he's going to be the ace of Minnesota. Like, if strike out an inning at the bare minimum in a 3.5 ERA in 1 year, like that does say something.
Yeah, it's not nothing. I would just want to see it one more time. And I think we just lost Joe, or he's got a very good stone face. Well, the other guy I was going to talk about is Jack Flaherty, and whether he can finally come back from injury and be what we thought was going to be the ace of the Cardinals. Right now, he's kind of in the fringes of the rotation, but he's 27. Why not?
Well, that was fun. I froze out there for a minute, so I just Jason, great job covering for me and saving our butts there. Joe Ryan, I moved him inside just between Tyler Anderson and Adam Wainwright. You were talking about Jack Flaherty here when I froze up, so I do want to talk about him as well. I'm worried, man, that we're chasing that 2019 Dragon, and we've been chasing it now for 2 full seasons, and it just hasn't come, and I don't know if it's gonna, man.
Yeah, look, I don't either. But he's still only 27, so like there's still potential for him to have that upside. Is he the ace? No, but can he be somewhat close to that? Maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't have him in the top 50, but I think he's somebody to at least keep an eye on in spring training and seeing how the Cardinals plan to use him. He only pitched 78 innings in 2021, and did he pitch it all last year?
36 innings last year.
36 innings. So like, there's nothing.
He's given us
really
100 since we've seen him good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can't, man. I just can't.
Right.
I have him behind like Zach Eflin and Jose Quintana and now Noah Syndergaard. Like him or Michael Wacha.
Has Wacha signed? Oh, he's with the Padres now.
San Diego.
Yeah. Assuming they're both equally as healthy, I would still take Jack Flaherty.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I want to make a case for Cole Irvin in Baltimore real quick. He's outside of my top 60. He's outside of my top 75. He's probably just barely inside my top 100. But if we're looking for sleepers, and this is the opportunity to start throwing out some sleeper names, Jason, I'm going to throw Cole Irvin out there. He was really good in Oakland, and you know what? Like you hear, oh, he was good for a terrible Oakland team, and you roll your eyes at it. 9-13 with an ERA near 4. Yeah, that doesn't sound all that great. But what does it mean to be pitching in Oakland, aside from it being a cavern of a stadium? You're also pitching against the Angels, the Mariners, the Astros. Like, those are really good offenses.
Yeah.
But the home ballpark is almost as good, especially as a lefty, because the right-handers have that giant wall to hit out to that is so deep and so high that it's crushing Ryan Mountcastle's value. As a late-round flyer, let's take the new guy in Baltimore, shall we?
Yeah. I wanted to get him in there. I think the move to Baltimore is going to be great for him. He is absolutely a great sleeper pick.
He also doesn't strike anybody out, by the way. He can't strike.
He does not. No. He had roughly the same K per 9 that Syndergaard did. So,
yeah. But I'll take him over Syndergaard.
Yeah, I can see that. The upside is there for sure.
I'll take him over Syndergaard. I'll take him over Jack Flaherty, but I will pass on taking him over Zach Eflin. How do you feel about Eflin in Tampa?
I don't like Zach Eflin. I don't
at all.
Okay. Yeah, and especially in Tampa, where he could become like a bulk guy or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him. His injuries have scared me. Nah, I'm out on Zach Eflin.
Okay. Well, that is the 5 starter for Tampa right now, with McClanahan and Glasnow, and then the 2 guys we talked about earlier in the show, Rasmussen and Springs, and now Eflin. So if that's the 5, it does sound like a real 5.
Yeah. Sure.
But it also sounds like Yanni Chirinos could come up tomorrow, and all of a sudden we've got interesting things to worry about.
Right. It sounds like the Reyes 5, which is really like 8. So.
Yeah. All right. Give me a sleeper here, Jason. Give me another one.
Brian Bayo, Red Boston.
Ooh.
Yeah,
right.
This kid, a full season under his belt, and let's see what he can do in Boston. They're not going to compete. Let's see what he can do in a full season. I have my eye on this kid.
Okay, I've got him in a list of dudes who didn't throw more than 100 innings. So
yeah,
I've got him around I don't know, what is this? Carlos Hernandez and Bailey Ober and Eliezer Hernandez and Griffin Canning. So
no, he's definitely down in the doldrums there, but let's see what he does. 2024, I could see him being in the top 50.
Hey, he might, especially.
This meeting is being recorded.
Well, it looks like we lost Joe again. So, but we're at the end here. We covered some great starting pitchers here. Just to recap, my 50 to 26, since there was some changes live here on the air. Number 50 was Jose Barrios. We had Adam Wainwright, 49. Marcus Stroman, 48. Pablo Lopez, number 47. 46, we have Eduardo Rodriguez. 45, Chris Bassett. 44, Lucas Giolito. 43, Ranger Suarez. Luis Garcia at 42, Jordan Montgomery at 41, Drew Rasmussen at 40, his teammate Jeffrey Springs at 39, Kodai Senga at 38. At 37, we have Tristan McKenzie. 36, George Kirby. 35, Tyler Glasnow. 34, Luis Severino. At 33, Tony Gonsolin. Robbie Ray at 32, Logan Gilbert at 31, Clayton Kershaw at 30, Blake Snell 29, Yu Darvish 28, 27 is Luis Castillo, and 26 is Zach Gallen. We will continue this with Mike and Joe and a special guest when we cover our top 25 starting pitchers going into the 2023 season. Until then, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and as always, real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.